G'day, SpartanWilly here, and today we're going to go over my predictions for the 21-22 Premier League season. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. Just before we get started, I just wanted to quickly say we are doing an FPL for the channel this season. So Fantasy Premier League, if you play it, or maybe if you don't join in, have a bit of fun. We're going to run it for a season, see how we go, and hopefully have a bit of fun there. So make sure to jump in if you're interested. And also I just want to say, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, it helps the channel out heaps, and consider subscribing as well. Road to 1,000 by the end of the year is on. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. So we're just going to go through each place, starting from 20th to 1st. I'll try and make it quick. I don't want it to be too long of a video, so we'll get straight into it here. As you can tell, I'm a Chelsea fan as well, so the camera confused me. My hands are everywhere. But will that affect where I put teams? I'll try not to. I'm going to try and be as honest as possible, but let's kick off with 20th here. Now, I try not to offend anyone with my predictions, but for 20th, I'm going to put Burnley. Now, I do have my reasons for each sort of prediction, so we're going to go through them. With Burnley, they're sort of the team that's always there, and I think they're only there because of Sean Dyche. They're just constant survival in the Premier League has been because of that great man. He's a fantastic manager, but it's got to come to an end. At a certain point, you know, he can't keep performing magic tricks and staying in the Premier League. They cut it close last time out, finishing 17th, obviously one spot above the drop zone, so I think they'll get relegated this season, and last place is probably not a bad guess because last season, you know, they had Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield United. They're good teams, don't get me wrong, but there's better teams in the division this year, and with no real massive transfers, I don't see Sean Dyche be able to do it again. In 19th, I have put Southampton. Now, I think this is a fairly common one amongst other people. I haven't really seen other predictions, but I don't think I'll be alone in this. Losing Danny Ings was massive for Southampton. He put up with so many goals last season and seasons prior to that, and they just, how do you replace a man like Danny Ings? It's pretty difficult. Obviously, with similar reasons to Burnley, there's no Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield United. I mean, there's Brentford, but I think we'll get into them later, but I think they'll do a bit better than those three teams. Yeah, I just think that with the quality of teams of the Premier League this season, we're going to see them either really struggle and maybe even get relegated. And my final drop zone prediction will be Brentford. I think Brentford will come in 18th. They made a good signings, quite a few signings, but we have seen in the past that a lot of signings or a few signings can be the downfall of a recently promoted team. We see it with Fulham. You know, they come up and spend all this money and then go straight back down. So, you know, I do think that they might be able to survive. I know a couple of people think they'll be able to do some big things in the league, and I hope to see it. I love seeing teams do well. So the first spot that's not in the relegation zone in 17th, I have Brighton. Now, I don't really have much to say on Brighton, but they've been in this area the last couple of years. Last year, they were in 16th, and the year before that, in 15th. So, you know, continuing that steady decline, one position at a time. Obviously, they don't have Matty Ryan anymore. They sold him on, I'm disappointed as an Australian. He was the last Australian in the Premier League. But I think Brighton will survive, but it might be close. So in 16th place, I have got Championship champions Norwich. They had an awesome season last season. They are a bit of a yo-yo team, however, so they are known for sort of bouncing up, bouncing back down. I think they'll be able to survive it this season, but it could come down to a relegation battle. For their sake, I hope they stay up. It's good for them to get a bit of stability. They held on to some key players, lost a few other players, but I think they might be able to get the job done this season. Now this one I'm putting my neck out a little bit in 15th, but I'm going to go Everton. I think they're going to have a real struggling season. They obviously have a new manager, and I'm not going to go into all the details regarding that manager, but let's just say it's quite toxic around the club at the moment. Obviously the fans don't like him that much due to his history, Benitez in Merseyside, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. I really hope it as well, but not the best pre-season, losing to Manchester United. It feels like it's going to be a tough season. Calvert-Lewin's apparently got a knock, it says on Fantasy Premier League, for the start of the season. So will they be able to get up to the similar start they did last season? Obviously, they were awesome last season at the start of the season, but I said season way too much. But yeah, I don't think Everton will have an awesome season. But for their sake, I hope they can prove me wrong. So next up, we have Watford. Now, I think Watford, the last of our promoted teams here, the highest one I think will finish. The cycling GK in goal. You know, how can you not love that man? If you don't know him, obviously check him out. If you're a fan of football, you love his channel. Ben Forster, by the way. And look, to be honest, I have a sneaky feeling, but I also can fully accept that they could finish lower. It's always tough. getting promoted and being in the Premier League. So they looked good last season, don't get me wrong. It's just going to be interesting to see how they do against other promoted sides and the big boys. So yeah, 14th, but they could be lower, to be honest. Next up in 13th, we have Newcastle. Now, Newcastle haven't made massive waves in the market. They never really do. The last couple of seasons, they finished 12th last season and 13th the season before that. I think it's going to be around a similar area. They shouldn't really get roped into a relegation battle, I don't think. They're too big of a club. I mean, they have gone down in the past, obviously, but I don't think it'll be this year they'll go down. And they've been, like I said, around this area the last few years. There's not really much more to say on Newcastle. Mid-table teams are hard to really put in the exact spot, but I'm pretty happy with that one. So in 12th place, we have Crystal Palace. Now, they held on to Wilfred Zaha, which is a massive coup for them. Well, not a coup, but a massive boost to them, because obviously he's an amazing player and he'll really help their chances this season. They won't be in a relegation battle, I don't think, but it is a massive season regarding Wilfred Zaha's future. I think, how long is he going to stay at Palace if there's going to be a mid-table team? Yeah, again, not much really saying the mid-table teams. I think Palace will be around a similar area. They've been 14th the last 2 seasons, but I think they'll make a jump to 12th just because the quality of the other teams is slowly on the decline. A bit more even down there now. Obviously, there's not really that many of whipping boys. I don't think. I could be wrong, obviously. These are just predictions. But yeah, Palace in 12th. Now, 11th, I've got West Ham United. Obviously, an amazing season last season, but that can sort of be a blessing and a curse because now they've got European football to contend with. And with the squad that they have, it's paper thin, really, outside of the starting 11. So I think European football will be a massive challenge. If they can sign Kurt Zouma, obviously the transfer window can go out to the end of August, so that can change everything, these predictions. But yeah, look, they got not much depth at the moment, so a few injuries in that squad could really struggle. To be honest, I could see them being lower than 11th for sure. Depends how they go in the Europa League as well, because they're going to play at least 6 games, because they are, of course, in the group stage. If they do even better, then who knows how long. So in 10th place, I've picked Wolves. It's going to be very interesting to see how they go under a new manager. I hope for their sake they have a good season. There's a heap of signings as well. Well, not a heap, but some good signings. Not a lot of them are English Premier League proven. It's going to be interesting to see how they go, but with a Portuguese manager and a Portuguese team, basically, hopefully he can hit the ground running and continue on a good bit of trajectory for them. Obviously, last season they finished 13th. Season before that they finished 7th. So I think 10th, that middle ground, is a safe sort of bet, but they could be higher or lower, really. You never know with the Wolves what you're going to get. 13th and 7th, like I said earlier, there's a big gap between there, so we'll see how they go. So in 9th, I've gone with last year's 9th place finishers, Leeds. Now they play some good football, against the big teams. They're not afraid of the larger teams, which is awesome. You saw that on match day 1 against Liverpool last season. They've made some decent signings, but you'll never know with the second season of promoted teams. I'm a big believer in second season syndrome. We saw it with Sheffield United. Obviously, they had a decent first season of the Prem. Second season, they were complete whipping boys. Leeds are a bigger club than Sheffield United, I think. Everyone will agree. So hopefully for their sake that they don't have as big as a drop off as Sheffield did. I don't think they will either. But it's always something you sort of got to keep in the back of your mind. Okay, so it's getting a bit juicy now. In 8th place, I have made a bit of a risky call here, and I've put Tottenham. Now Tottenham are a team I literally have no idea what they're gonna be like this season. Under a new manager, they could still lose Harry Kane. We don't know who they're going to bring in to replace Kane if they do lose him. There's a lot of ifs and buts around Tottenham. Obviously, their manager is about the 50th choice manager that they wanted to hire. They had a list, and they just keep getting rejected. And then Santos said, "Yeah, so good luck to him. Tough job, especially if they lose Kane." I think 8th place is pretty safe because if they keep Kane, they're going to do better than 8th, surely. They'll probably finish above Arsenal, Leicester, maybe Leicester. But if they lose Kane, it could be a season of turmoil for Tottenham, to be honest. We'll see how Sun goes. It'll be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Obviously, the transfer window goes up to the 31st of August, so I think Tottenham will be holding out, hoping they can keep Harry Kane, because they'll kind of dictate their season quite largely, in my opinion. So in 7th, I've predicted Leicester City. Now, I do think that this will be majorly dependent on, as I said earlier, Harry Kane and Arsenal. We'll go into why I put Arsenal a bit higher in a minute, but Leicester, of course, have made some decent signings, but they've lost Fuchs, James and Morgan. So you know, obviously they're getting a bit older, the Leicester team, as some of them have retired, as I mentioned earlier. And it's going to be interesting to see how they go. They always have a good system of replacing players, so I don't think they're going to be like in absolute rebuild mode. I think they always find a way to sort of get new talent and train it up pretty quickly. But yeah, look, Leicester could easily finish 5th, to be honest. It's just going to be very dependent on how Tottenham and Arsenal go around them. Okay, in 6th place we've got Arsenal. Now, they're a bit high, a lot of people would say, but that's because mainly they got no European football to worry about. They're going to be fully focused on the Premier League and the League Cups. I don't know why I said League Cups, this is a Premier League prediction, but you know what I mean, domestic football. They've got Ben White. Again, it depends a lot on Harry Kane. I feel like I say that every prediction, but it does really. So this could be the first year in a couple of years that they finish above Tottenham in my books with European football. If they lose Kane, I think it could be a good season for Arsenal. Okay, 5th place I've got Aston Villa. Now, this is a bit of a surprise one, I'll admit. But I do think Aston Villa had an awesome window. Despite losing Jack Grealish, they signed Leon Bailey, Danny Ings. Like, they have some awesome pickups there. I really think Aston Villa will push on with that Jack Grealish money, and hopefully for this they get a 5th place finish. I think it'd be awesome seeing another team sort of join that top section of English football like Leicester have. Okay, now the top 4 is really challenging. It always is. But in 4th place, again, this could be any order, these top 4. Maybe this year has a bit of bias to it. I'm a Chelsea fan, but in 4th place, I'm going to put Liverpool. Now, I do think that it's highly dependent on their injuries this season. Last year, they had a whole heap of injuries, that's why they had a rough year. But I think those injuries, and I think Trent Alexander-Arnold's already got a knock before the season even started, I think is okay, but it's a bit of a scary sign for Liverpool fans. They know that if one of their front three gets injured, they could be in a bit of strife. They've got a bit more depth down back, so they could easily finish above 4th. They could even challenge for the title. I think it's probably more likely they get 2nd, 3rd or 4th, maybe not title quite yet, but yeah, if they can stay injury-free, anything's possible for Liverpool, but I don't know if they have the ability to do that. Now on to 3rd place, and similar to Liverpool, these guys could easily finish higher. Manchester United. Now, I've said Man U in 3rd for a combination of reasons. I love the Varane, and Sancho is a good signing too. I like the Varane one a bit more, but it's awesome seeing Sancho in the Premier League, English player. But yeah, like I said, I easily win it, but I don't have complete faith in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer just yet. I'm one of those guys, a bit of an Ole doubter, so I think 3rd place is probably where they're going to finish in my books. Last year they were 2nd, year before that they were 3rd, so do they have enough to make that final step to 1st? No, but yeah, out of Chelsea, Man City, who's going to finish the top, we'll soon find out. Now in 2nd place, I've gone with Manchester City. Hear me out before you attack me in the comments. I think Manchester City's focus will be largely on the Champions League this season. I think Pep has to, even with PSG just signing Messi, it's going to be very hard to win that competition, but I think Pep Guardiola has to start putting focus there. He got close last season, but these boys stopped him, and I think they'll stop him this season for the Premier League. Maybe not think, but I have hope, and I think we have the potential to do it. Also, Man City are known to be slow starters. Pep's already making excuses talking about that this season. But yeah, I think a lot of their focus will be on the Champions League, because Pep really spent $1.6 billion since he's taken over at Manchester City, and you need a European Cup to really show for that. But if they sign Harry Kane, this could easily be a null and void season. They're going to absolutely wipe the league with it. But you know, Grealish will be a good signing for them too, but Harry Kane would just take him to the untouchable level. Like, the amount of depth you have in that attack would be ridiculous. So yeah. Now 1st place obviously is Chelsea, the only team I've said, the team I'm wearing, but let me explain myself. Lukaku is pretty much confirmed at this point, I believe. He'll be awesome. I hope he can be a prolific striker that we've been wanting for a while. A lot of people have been asking questions about our defense, but we're the best defense in Europe since Tuchel took over, so I don't know where that concerns come from. I understand it's aging in Thiago Silva. He's aging a little bit, but we have plenty of defensive options, and we could easily sign another defender before the window ends, but I don't think we're looking at that, to be honest, because like I said, best defensive record since Tuchel took over. And with Lukaku, I think it could be the finishing puzzle. We are talking about a Champions League winners. Again, it's a cup competition. It's different in the league, obviously, with the consistency, but Man City will have focus on the Champions League. Manchester United have still got a bit of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer vibes to them. Liverpool might struggle with injuries. Look, these are all ifs and buts. These are just predictions. It's a bit more hopeful as well. And any of the top four could win it, to be honest. I'm just going to say Chelsea are going to win it. I have a bit of faith in the boys. So yes, those are my Premier League predictions. Now, please let me know who you think is going to win the title and all your predictions down in the comments below. Again, they're just predictions, so don't feel offended or attacked if I predicted your team to do poorly. It's just what I think is going to happen. I could be completely wrong, just like I was with the Euros. So yeah, look, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to leave a like, consider subscribing to the channel, join the Discord server. We have lots of little chats in there. Jump in one of the live streams, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.